The true origin of Miss Rabbit is a big mystery in Peppa Pig, but the question that stays in the fans' minds is about how many of her there are and what they want. Are you sure you're ready to discover the truth about the army of Miss Rabbits? Number 9. How many Miss Rabbits exist in the world? The answer to that question is frightening. But knowing the truth is only the beginning, because you need to understand what lies behind this character. In the New York episode, Peppa wanted to know which Miss Rabbit was the real one, but the answer was surprising. The Miss Rabbit who was driving the taxi said, "There is one of us in every city. Calm down, you don't need to do the math because we already did it for you." The Peppa Pig universe is just like our world, meaning the cities are the same. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a New York or London in the show. That's why we just need to know how many cities there are. If you add small cities and large ones, the number reaches 2 million. And if the Miss Rabbit from New York was telling the truth, then this is the number of rabbit sisters that exist. That's impressive, don't you think? But that's not all. There is a mystery behind these characters that we're going to tell you right now.
That's right, another Cinewave is coming for you to enjoy.
Clone. There is another possibility that is very scary and explains the reason for so many rabbit sisters. In truth, they are clones of Mrs. Rabbit, Rebecca's mother. Yes, you know that the Rabbit sisters are daughters of Grandpa Rabbit, a genius scientist who exists in Peppa's universe. But what if we tell you that Grandpa Rabbit actually has only one daughter? From what we know, Mrs. Rabbit and Miss Rabbit are twin sisters, but one is the mother of Rebecca and Richard, while the other has no time for anything because she is always working. The Miss Rabbit who lives in Peppa's town has several copies spread all over the world, but Rebecca's mother doesn't. That's curious, don't you think?
Why does only one of the twin sisters have multiple copies?
The answer is very frightening.
The theory says that Grandpa Rabbit had only one daughter, who is Mrs. Rabbit, while all the others are copies who believe they are someone else. Grandpa Rabbit created a sister for his daughter, the one who lives in Peppa's town, and for the rest of the world, he made millions of clones so they could work in different jobs. This makes total sense and it's very terrifying.
Name. Do you know Mademoiselle Lapin? She is Miss Rabbit, but from France. Actually, the character has the same identity, just in another language. When Mommy Pig meets this character, we discover that around the rest of the world, there is a Miss Rabbit in each city, but the character's name changes if the language changes. Up to that point, everything is fine. It makes sense, but it is also proof that not all Miss Rabbits speak the same language. Do they not know each other? Today, you'll see that this is not exactly the case. In reality, the Miss Rabbits spread across the world are all sisters and they are working together in an evil plan. But there is a problem. The character who lives in Peppa's town is called Miss Rabbit. The one who lives in Texas too, and the one who lives in New York has the same name. So they need a way to know who is who. Our theory is that the sisters spread throughout the world know exactly what each of their real names are, and the real names of the other characters. Of course, you don't really think her name is Miss Rabbit, do you? Would you like to be a copy of Miss Rabbit? Comment #rabbit so we can get to know you. Italy. There is a change in the rule that the New York Miss Rabbit mentioned. Do you remember it? The one that says, "There is a Miss Rabbit in every city." In the episodes where Peppa and her family went to Italy, we discovered that there is no Miss Rabbit in the city where they stayed.
Every time the Pig family went to a shop or restaurant, we saw other characters working there, but no Italian Miss Rabbit ever showed up. Actually, the only character who appears in the episode is the one that works at the airport, but she is not the Italian Miss Rabbit. She is the same Miss Rabbit from Peppa's town. So this brings another mystery about Miss Rabbit. Why is there no daughter of Grandpa Rabbit working in the Italian city where Peppa went on vacation? Money.
Now, if there is one thing you can be sure of, it's that Miss Rabbit's family is the richest in the entire show. In fact, she might be the richest character in all animated series ever. Just in Peppa's town, Miss Rabbit controls more than 40 businesses. In more than 400 episodes, she showed that she has many jobs. If you imagine the amount of money this character earns from all of these businesses, not only in her original town, but also around the entire universe, it surely adds up to a fortune. It's so much money that we keep wondering why she needs all that. And yes, there is an answer, but we're gonna talk about that in a moment. For now, the only thing you need to know is that maybe the Rabbit family owns a fortune so big that it wouldn't even fit in our video if we tried to explain it. Robots. If you don't believe in the clone theory, then maybe you'll believe in the robot theory. The Miss Rabbit who lives in Peppa's town may be the leader of a robot army that looks just like her. Maybe clones don't exist in Peppa's universe, but robots are very possible, because Grandpa Rabbit is a brilliant inventor. Besides, we have already seen robots in Peppa Pig's universe. In the episode The Helper Robot, Grandpa Pig bought a machine that obeyed commands and helped clean the house. Miss Rabbit, being so rich, could have an army of robots working all around the world making money for her. Do you think this theory is easy to believe?
Subscribing is quick, easy, and keeps you updated with everything happening here. Let's go? If you want to know what Miss Rabbit and her army of clones do with so many jobs and so much money, know that yes, there is a reason. They want to take over the universe. During the episode where they travel to space, we discover that there is a Miss Rabbit on the moon where she sells things. But wait, who is she selling to if there is no one on the moon? Before we talk about that, let's remember that the only character in the whole show who actually knows how to travel to the moon is Grandpa Rabbit, because he has a rocket. And we also need to remember that he is the father of all the Miss Rabbits in Peppa's universe. Meaning, if there is a Miss Rabbit shop on the moon, the genius grandpa scientist definitely helped her build it. But the question remains, who is she selling to? Of course, to aliens! And no, an alien has never appeared in the Peppa universe, but as we already explained, Grandpa Rabbit is the only one on planet Earth who can travel to outer space. In other words, no one from Earth goes there to buy what Miss Rabbit wants to sell. But if aliens exist, they can buy. And that is why Miss Rabbit needs so much money. Going to space is extremely expensive, and she already controls most jobs on planet Earth. So Miss Rabbit's dream is to dominate the entire universe. Do you think we will one day discover that there is a Miss Rabbit on every planet in the galaxy? Powers! There is also another possibility, maybe not clones or even robots. Miss Rabbit may be a witch with magical powers, and because of that, she can be everywhere at the same time. If you think that's impossible, we are going to show you 3 examples that prove that powers really do exist in Peppa's universe. First example, Super Potato. This character is a superhero who can fly. Just like comic book heroes everyone knows. You need to ask yourself, if a potato can fly in Peppa's universe, why couldn't Miss Rabbit have superpowers? Second example, the Tooth Fairy. In the episode where our protagonist loses a tooth, Daddy Pig says that there is a fairy who loves to trade children's teeth for gold coins. Everyone knows this legend. A child loses a tooth, puts it under the pillow, and when they sleep, a fairy appears and exchanges it for a coin. Everyone thought Daddy Pig would enter the room at night and leave the coin himself, but to our surprise, a real fairy actually appeared in Peppa's universe. Meaning, magical creatures do exist in this world, and Miss Rabbit could easily be one. Third example, Madame Gazelle. She is a vampire, and she has been alive longer than any other character in the show. In the Halloween episode, we saw that the teacher had no reflection, just like vampires. So there is clear proof that there are magical powers in Peppa's world. And since Miss Rabbit has several copies of herself around the world, of course we can say she has the power to be everywhere at the same time. Is Miss Rabbit a magical creature who moves faster than Flash and Sonic combined? Maybe that's the truth. But what do you think?
think? Boss. And if you think the theories about the Miss Rabbit army are over, you're wrong. Miss Rabbit has a secret, and this plan may be something the other characters are not going to like. Have you noticed that all characters work for Miss Rabbit without knowing it? She owns everything. Clothing stores, supermarkets, restaurants, and even the airport are controlled by Miss Rabbit. What is stopping Miss Rabbit from being the secret boss of every business in the world and making all the characters work for her? But what does that mean? Simple. Everything in Peppa's universe belongs to her. The characters work for her and get paid by her, but then they spend that same money at stores and markets that also belong to Miss Rabbit. In other words, Rebecca's aunt owns everything, and every character in the show works for her without even realizing it. Now think, if the characters discover that Miss Rabbit is actually their boss, maybe no one will like that truth. And if it's even worse than that, maybe the Miss Rabbit army exists because she wants to take over the world someday. Do you believe in this theory? Spy. And of course, there need to be millions of Miss Rabbits because this character is a government spy around the world. In the TV Land episode, we learn that Peppa is always being recorded by someone. Also, Miss Rabbit keeps showing up in the same places where the pig family travels. In the episode where they visit the Queen, Miss Rabbit says she can visit the head of the country whenever she wants. The two are friends, and this makes us think that the entire army of Miss Rabbit spread across the world is made of spies who watch every character in the show. But one thing that has not been revealed is why they do this. It is a mystery that may be revealed in the next season. Before you go, take a look at the two videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!